There is an election in Virginia next Tuesday in this off-year's only competitive governor's race, one that analysts will be watching closely for insights about voters' attitudes toward President Trump. We sent our own John Yang to take a look.
On a soggy day in Richmond, Virginia, the menu was cider with a large serving of politics.
Are we going to change the course of history in this country? Yeah!
It was billed as a get-out-the-vote event for the Virginia election, but most of the talk was about President Trump's turbulent first year. Former Attorney General Eric Holder.
If you get the hair with neo-Nazis and white supremacists in Charlottesville, you kind of turned in your good person card.
There you go.
Chelsea Higgs-Wise, a clinical social worker, helped organize the event for Democratic candidate for governor Ralph Northam.
I really understand that everything that's going on has to do with the Republican train and the Trump train. But this has pushed me to take all of my free time, truly, and dedicate it to the election.
Come on, George. For some, Mr. Trump is irrelevant. Tanner Hirschfeld is a 19-year-old University of Virginia student who's active in Republican politics. He's backing Ed Gillespie in the governor's race.
People are coming to me saying, well, you can't vote for somebody like Donald Trump. I was like, I didn't know Donald Trump was running in the state of Virginia. I mean, that's news to me.
Thank you. Thank you.
But polling suggests the president is casting a very long shadow over the hotly contested off-year governor's race in the only southern state Mr. Trump lost. A new Washington Post Schar School survey found that nearly 6 in 10 likely voters said Mr. Trump is an important factor in their vote. The same poll found the president's approval rating among likely voters at only 38%. That sentiment holds true for Northam supporter Eric Anderson, a chemical engineer.
Gillespie has done little or nothing to distance himself from Trump, and so I assume he would go along with whatever programs Trump wants to institute.
And for Gillespie backer Allison Katzman.
How important is it that you elect a governor who gets along with President Trump?
Very important. Right now, I just want Ed Gillespie to win.
How closely do these voters associate the president and the Republican candidate?
When you look at Ed Gillespie, do you see President Trump?
When I look at him, I don't, but when I listen to him, I do.
Absolutely not. In Donald Trump, I see more of an opportunist. Ed, I think, has been a lifelong conservative.
No, I see Ed Gillespie. But nobody's Donald Trump except Donald Trump.
Charlottesville continues to ring in my ears and be the picture in my head. And that, of course, is Donald Trump.
Gillespie, a former Republican operative and lobbyist, has tried to distance himself from the president's behavior here at a July debate moderated by Judy Woodruff.
I don't agree with everything the president says or tweets, and I've made that clear, but my focus is on Virginia. And we have got to get Virginia growing again. When I disagree with the president, I will make it clear.
Hello, Virginia! While Vice President Mike Pence has visited Virginia to try to elect the state's first Republican governor since 2009, the president's involvement has been limited to 4 tweets. Gillespie's campaign ads, though, embrace Mr. Trump's issues. Illegal immigration.
Ralph Northam voted in favor of sanctuary cities that let dangerous illegal immigrants back on the street.
And Confederate monuments.
I'm for keeping them up, and he's for taking them down.
Polls find both issues far down on the list of voters' priorities, but they're important to some of the Trump supporters who voted against Gillespie in the surprisingly close Republican primary. Gillespie backer Allison Katzman, a tax preparer, did not vote for him in the primary. At the top of her concerns, Confederate monuments.
That is one issue that I feel that is very important. It's sort of like the left at this point is tilting at windmills. We got to get rid of this statue and that name offends somebody and then it's something else.
That's a concern for Northam voter Eric Anderson. He's a registered Republican and voted for Gillespie in the primary.
What disturbs me is having won, Gillespie seems to be moving not towards the center, but towards the fringe. When I see the campaign ads and he says at the end, you know, he authorized this message. He's authorized a Trump message.
Northam seems to have recalculated his approach to the president after the physician got national attention for this diagnosis.
I'm listening carefully to Donald Trump, and I think he's a narcissistic maniac.
His tone now?
And as a doctor, nobody ever asks if I'm a Democrat or Republican. They just want my help. So if Donald Trump is helping Virginia, I'll work with him.
While the voters we talked to are split on the president's role in this Virginia contest, they do agree on the importance of the outcome.
If you woke up the morning after Election Day and found out that Ed Gillespie had won, was there anything you'd be concerned about?
I think that Gillespie would be especially bad for immigrants. I think he would be awful for women's rights, particularly the right to choose.
I would feel like those pictures, those people in Charlottesville, they won. Those people in groups and with the tiki torches just walking towards me and my daughter, ready to take away our rights and say, you don't matter.
You learned that Ralph Northam has won the election. What would you be worried about?
I'll be very unhappy. That the state is going to go even further to the left.
I think this race is super important for the future of Virginia politics.
One that's drawing attention nationwide for signs about the future of both parties. For the PBS NewsHour, I'm John Yang in Alexandria, Virginia.